With reference to cultural history of India, consider the following pairs. Okay, this is also related to cultural terminology. If you focus on terminology, definitely you will get good marks. In this year, 2020 UPSC, he gave importance to terminologies, ancient and medieval terminologies. Around 4 questions we got from only terminology. Parivrajaka, renunciate and wanderer. Okay, Parivrajaka means a person who came out from the family, and he became an ascetic or he became a monk. He became a monk. His principal aim is he will move from one place to another place in quest of truth. In quest of truth. Or in quest of truth. He moved from one place to another place. So option E or this one is correct. Wanderer. He moved from one place to another place. Okay. He will become monk. He come out from the family life. Okay. There is no wife. There is no children. Okay. He was a free bird. In search of truth, he wandered from one place to another place. So first one is correct. Shramana. Priest with high status. Okay, this is wrong. Shramana means a person who renounced his life and he condemned authority of Vedas, he condemned authority of Brahmins. He wants to remove burdens on the people. Okay, Shramana was against to Brahmins, domination of Brahmins over the society, was against to dominance of Vedas on the society. Here, what is option? Priest with high status. So, this is wrong option. Okay, Shramana, there is upper caste and lower caste people in Shramana movement or Shramana sect. From Shramana, Buddhism, Jainism was evolved. Around 62 heterodox movement was started during 6th century BC. Out of 62, 4 became the religions. Okay, that 62 movement belonged to Shramana only. They were against to Brahmins domination over the society. They were against to Veda domination over the society. So option 2 is wrong. We'll see the next one. Upasakas, lay followers of Buddhism. In Buddhism, there is 2 type of followers. Bhikshu and Upasakas. Bhikshu and Upasakas. Bhikshu means they renounce their life and follow path of Buddha completely. Okay, they came out from the family. They live in ashram, Bauddha Ramas. Okay, they never involve in marriage life. They never go back to marriage life. Okay, they completely ascetics or monks. Ascetics or monks. Okay, and Upasakas, lay followers of Buddhism. They follow path of Buddha and marriage life. Okay, they married devotees of Buddha. Married devotees of Buddha. Why they want to marry? Here, to protect Buddhism, we need these 2. For example, there is only bhikshu means after death of these bhikshus, there is no Buddhism. Buddhism will also decline. To continue this Buddhism, we need upasakas. Okay, without marriage, there is no children. Okay, new monks never enter into Buddhism if there is no upasakas. Nowadays in Tibet, there is a custom. In Tibet, only elder son will get married. Elder son will get married. Okay, and second son, third son, and all remaining family members will go to ashram. After elder son, is elder son, is elder son, is elder son, is elder son, and remaining family members will go to ashram to protect Buddhism. Okay, we need lay followers and bhikshus to protect Buddhist order. So, third one also correct, first one correct, third one correct. So 1 and 3, B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next question. With reference to the history of India, the term Kulyavapa and Dronavapa denotes. This is related to Gupta terminology. Okay, Gupta terminology. If you follow Krishna Reddy Indian history, and this book is mentioned so many Gupta terms, and Agnihotri book. Nowadays, that book was not published because Agnihotri was passed away, so the book was republication was stopped. Okay, if you will get from second-hand market in Agnihotri Indian history book, you will get number of terms and terminologies. Okay, you can easily answer this type of questions. Okay, first one, measurement of land, coins of different monetary values, classification of urban land, and religious rituals. Answer A is correct. Measurement of land. Okay, Kulyavapa, Dronavapa is related to measurement of lands. This is related to Gupta terminology. Adav and Kulyavapa, Dronavapa, Adavapa, Pataka. This terminology is used in Gupta period for measuring the land in eastern India. During Shatavahana period, Nivartana. This is also used for measurement of the land. Nivartana, measurement of the land. For example, Gautami Putra Shatakarni has donated 100 Nivartana land to Buddhist. Land to Buddhist. Okay, this was continued during Gupta period also in Western India. During Gupta period, Nivartana terminology used for measurement of land in Western India. Western India means present Maharashtra, okay, and Gujarat region. And in Eastern India means Bengal, Bihar, Orissa region, and Bengal region, total region, they used Kulyavapa, Dronavapa, Adavapa, Pataka. These terminologies used in Eastern India Gupta period and Nivartana in Western India. Okay, a measurement of the land. Next question. Which of the following phrases defines the nature of the hundi generally referred to in the source of the post-Harsha period? This question directly came from 7th class NCERT. That's why I requested you should follow NCERT, 6th class to 10th class social NCERTs or history NCERTs. If you read thoroughly school books, definitely you can answer this question. First, A option, an advisory issued by the king to his subordinates. B, a diary to be maintained for daily accounts. C, a bill of exchange. D, an order from the feudal lord to his subordinates. His subordinates. Answer is a bill of exchange. This is a very simple question from UPSC. Hundi. We easily assumed, okay, bill of exchange. Okay, during the ancient medieval period, traders carried trade from one place to another place. At that period, there is no effective protection. At that period, total India was covering with forest area. Trader traveling from one place to another place. For example, Ujjaini to Sravasti. Definitely, that trader should travel through a thick forest. He need protection. If, for example, if they had protection also, they cannot protect their properties, they cannot protect their goods. That's why instead of carrying money, they carried hundi. They carried hundi. Hundi was developed in medieval India as a financial instrument for trade and credit transactions. It could be used to transfer money from one place to another as a credit to borrow money and exchange to trade transactions. Trade transactions. For example, at that period, trading guilds trading guilds worked as banks. Trading guilds worked as banks. Trading guilds worked as banks. Okay. Traders used to carry their goods from one place to another place to sell their goods. They need to carry some money. Because of security problem, then fear to carry the money. That's why they used an instrument is called as hundi. For example, there is a Kulala Sreni. Kulala Sreni. Okay, a person who is carrying, a person who is maintaining pottery. Okay, he wants to send pottery from Ujjaini to Sravasti. Okay, he wants to carry some money. Okay, he is having fear, maybe in forest thieves may attack. Okay, that's why they carry hundi. Okay, every city there is a separate branch of Sreni. Separate branch of Sreni. Okay, here head of this Sreni is Sresti. Sresti is the head. Okay, this Sresti will issue a note that is hundi. If you saw this hundi note to that Sresti of Sravasti, okay, from that area, that person will get money. Okay, he should maintain that note. Okay, nothing but we can banks. Nowadays, we are depositing money in our banks and we are taking money from different ATMs. Okay, that is the best example. Okay, next question. With reference to history of India, consider the following pairs. Okay, this is related to 8th class. This question came from 8th class NCERT. 8th class NCERT. Okay, with reference to history of India, consider following pairs. Okay, first one, Aurang, in charge of treasury of the state. Again, this question related to terminology, medieval terminology. Aurang, in charge of treasury of the state. Second one, Banyan, Indian agent to East India Company. Mirasidas, designated revenue payers to the state. Okay, which of the pairs given above is or correctly matched? Okay, we'll see the words and terminologies. Aurang. Aurang means warehouse. This is a Persian terminology. To sell the product, before selling, they used to store their goods in warehouse. Okay, instead of warehouse, they use a terminology called Aurang. Aurang. Aurang means warehouse. But in option, in charge of treasury of the state. So, option 1 is wrong. Before selling the product, they store the goods in warehouse. Okay, Aurang is a Persian term to warehouse. So, first option is wrong. Second one, Banyan. Banyan, Indian agent of the East India Company. British came to India, they started trade. They don't know about Persian language. They don't know about local activities. That's why they used Banyan as a mediator or agent. Banyan. Banyan is a caste. For example, Gandhiji belonged to Banyan community, traders community. Okay, Banyan, Indian agent of East India Company. He worked as a agent, mediator and a translator. Translator. Because British don't know about Persian. These Banyans learned English. They were aware of Persian. So they worked as a translator to East India Company. Okay, they worked as a record keeper of East India Company. They worked as a mediators or agents of East India Company. So second option also correct. And third one, Mirasidas, designated revenue payer to the state. A person who serves the king, they will get Mirasi lands. A person who serves the king, they will get Jagir. Okay, this terminology used in medieval period. A person who support the king, they will get Jagir. There is a medieval term. Modern term is Jameen. Okay, ancient term is some land. Okay, here Mirasidars will get land from the king. Okay, after death of Mirasidar, his successors, his children can enjoy this land, Mirasi lands. They can enjoy Mirasi lands. In Persian, in Arabic language, mirasi means inherit. Inherit. In Arabic language, mirasi means inherit. Okay, generations after death of Mirasidar, his son and his son, his son, his son enjoy the land, but they need to pay revenue. They need to pay tax to the government. Okay, designated revenue paid to the state. Okay, Mirasidar who worked for the king, instead of salary, they got the land. Okay, after death of that person, his son will enjoy the land. Okay, that person, he can work in the government or may not work in the government, but he can enjoy. That's why he should pay revenue to the government. Okay, one is wrong, second one and third one is right. So option B is correct answer. Option B is correct answer. Next question, 15th question. With reference to the period of Gupta dynasty in ancient India, from towns Ghantasala, Kodura, Chaul were well known as. Okay, in 2017 we got port related information. Kakatiya port. In 2020 again port related information is came. Okay, regularly they are asking about trade related information in UPSC. So you should concentrate on trade related information from ancient India and medieval period. Okay, we'll see the options. Ports handling foreign trade, option A. Option B, capital of powerful kingdoms. Option C, place of exit and stone art and architecture. Option D, important Buddhist pilgrimage centers. Okay, your answer is option A is correct answer. Ports handling foreign trades. Okay, here, Ghantasala Kodura, these two places is familiar with Andhra, very close to Guntur district. Okay, here Ghantasala Kodura, these two places located in Andhra region. Ghantasala Kodura. This two is related to Andhra region. Ghantasala, old name is Kantakasala. Okay, Kantakasala. Okay, Buddha's favorite horse name is Kantaka. On that name, this Ghantasala was there. And Kodura, these two was the port cities during Gupta period in eastern part. And Chaul is located in Gujarat region. Gujarat region. This is also port city in Gujarat. Gujarat region. Okay, and modern period Portuguese also try to control Chaul, and there is a war between Portuguese and Indians. Okay, Battle of Chaul. Okay, this is the port cities. Okay, option A is correct. Port handling foreign trade. Okay, Telugu people easily identify if any Telugu aspirants. Okay, who is experts in Andhra history, they can easily identify Ghantasala and Kodura. Other states they cannot identify these places. Okay, Chaul, Ghantasala, Kodura is related to port cities. So option A is correct. Next question. With reference to the religious history of India, consider following statements. Sthaviravadins belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. Lokottaravadin sect was an offshoot of the Mahasangika sect of Buddhism. What is offshoot? Is a branch. Offshoot means branch. Okay, Lokottaravadin sect was a branch of Mahasangika Buddhism. Okay, and the deification of Buddha by Mahasangikas was studied Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, if you want to understand this question, you should know about Second Buddhist Council and Fourth Buddhist Council. Okay, in Second Buddhist Council, Buddhism divided into two parts. There is a dispute between Vajji monks and Avanti monks. Vajji monks and Avanti monks. Vajji monks. In Second Buddhist Council, Vajji monks became Mahasangikas. Mahasangikas. And Avanti monks became Sthaviravadins. In Second Buddhist Council, Buddhism became two major religions. Split was started. Vajji monks became Mahasangikas and Avanti monks became Sthaviravadins. Okay, we'll see the first option. Sthaviravadins belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, here this statement is wrong. Here Mahasangikas in 4th Buddhist Council there is 18 branches of Buddhism. In 4th Buddhist Council, they want to unite 18 branches into single religion. But in 4th Buddhist Council, 18 branches became two major branches. Two major branches, Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana and Mahayana. Mahasangikas became Mahayanas and Sthaviravadins became Hinayanas. There is no relation between Sthaviravadins and Mahayanas. So, option 1 is wrong. Sthaviravadins related to Hinayana Buddhism, not Mahayana Buddhism. So, option 1 is wrong. Lokottaravadin sect was an offshoot of the Mahasangika sect of Buddhism. Yes. After second Buddhist council in Buddhism, there is 18 subsects. 11 related to Sthaviravadins, 8 related to Mahasangikas. Okay, the deification and worshipping idolatry, introduction of idolatry, worshipping Buddha in idol form, statue form. Okay, second option, third option is correct. So B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. 2 and 3. Okay, we'll discuss every year UPSC gave importance to Buddhist branches, sub-branches. Okay, regularly UPSC asking about Buddhism or Jainism. Every year UPSC asked either Buddhism or Jainism. Either Buddhism or Jainism. Definitely you will get one question from Buddhism or Jainism. If you forget about these two religions, you will miss a question. You cannot answer this question. Okay, and sometimes if UPSC asked about Buddhism, they are asking about subsects also. Okay, after second Buddhist council, Buddhism divided into Sthaviravadins and Mahasangikas. Okay, in course of time, there is so many sub branches. 11 schools belongs to Sthaviravadins. Sects or schools, both are same. 11 schools. And Mahasangika related to 8. Okay, in this question he asked about Lokottaravadin. That's why I am giving these 8 names. Lokottaravadin branch. First one Lokottaravadins. Eka Vyavaharika, second one. Kukutikas, third one, and Bahusrutiyas, fourth one, Prajnapativadins, fifth one, Chaitya Shela, sixth one, Apara Shela, seventh one, Uttara Shela, eighth one. Okay, these 8 sub-branches related to Mahasangika. Okay, Lokottaravadin was mentioned in our question. That's why I explained these 8. Okay, remember this. In our Buddhist topic, we'll discuss completely in detail about these sects. Okay, we'll see the next question. One common agreement between Gandhiism and Marxism. Okay, the final goal of stateless society. Option A, class struggle. Option C, abolition of private property. And D, economic determinism. If you thoroughly study about Gandhi, you can easily eliminate up B, C, D. Okay, answer is option A is the correct answer. Option A is the correct answer. Gandhiji never talked about class struggle. Class struggle, rich, poor. Class means rich and poor, not caste. Okay, Gandhiji never talked about class struggle. So you can eliminate this option. Gandhiji never gave importance to private property, abolition of private property. For example, during the Mapila rebellion, he supported Mapilas. but he refused to attack on Jamindars because Jamindars also Indians. Jamindars also Indians. And during peasant movements, Gandhiji requested leaders not to attack on Jamindars. He requested leaders to oppose British, not Jamindars. Okay, Jamindars having private property. Okay, so this option also wrong. Economic determinism, this option also wrong. Okay, you can easily eliminate if you understand Gandhi, and we cannot understand Gandhi because Gandhiji is an enigma. Okay, we cannot explain completely Gandhiji because he was an enigma. Okay, RSS oriented people criticize Gandhiji as a Muslim friendly person, and communist oriented leaders criticized Gandhiji as a pro Hindutva. He was anti Muslim and anti other religions. He supported Hinduism. That's why we can say that Gandhiji is an enigma. We cannot perfectly define. Okay, Gandhiji and Marxism both is a common point, that is final goal of stateless society. Okay, we'll see the explanation. Okay, stateless society. What is meant by stateless society? A society which lacks formal institution of government. Stateless society means a society which lacks formal institution of the government. There is no government in stateless society. Okay, Gandhiji is a philosophical anarchist. Philosophical anarchist. Anarchist is one who is opposed every type of the state. Who is state to control the human being? Who is state to control the people, rights of the people? Gandhiji Ramaraja it is a self-regulating system where everyone is one's own ruler. Every person is ruler of himself. Okay, government or local organizations had no right to control people. No right to control people. Okay, Marxism revolves around the following theoretical propositions: classless society and stateless society. Classless. There is no rich, there is no poor. Okay, they want to build classless society and stateless society. Karl Marx. Karl Marx gave a perfect shape to socialism. He gave a perfect shape to socialism. Okay, and he talked about the society, Asiatic mode of production. In that Asiatic mode of production, he also talked about India and Indian caste system. Okay, now we'll talk about this stateless society. Karl Marx said that every society is divided into rich, poor, rich, poor. Karl Marx ideology is he talked about primitive society. Okay, primitive society. In primitive society, everyone is equal. Primitive man, his work is only in searching the food and protecting. There is no inequalities in primitive society because there is no excessive production. Okay, everybody equal in this period. Second one is landlord society. Okay, landlord society. In this period, powerful people control the land and they used weak section to cultivate the land, and the landlord enjoyed surplus. Landlord enjoyed surplus. Discrimination started in second stage, landlordism stage. Second stage. Okay, suppression started in second stage. Here, society divided into landlords and weaker sections or workers or agricultural laborers. Society divided into two groups in second phase. In first phase, everybody equal, nobody is high, nobody is low. But in second section, Karl Marx explains about society. Society divided into two groups, landlords, and second one is agriculture laborers. Agriculture laborers. And third one, capitalism. Capitalism, there is a industries. There is industries. Okay, landlords became capitalist. Landlord became capitalist. Agricultural laborer became workers in the industries. Workers in the industry. Okay, and here also surplus was enjoyed by the capitalist. They gave less wages to workers. Less wages to workers. And fourth status is socialism. Here there is no any inequalities. Government control. Government control industries, agriculture land, and government distribute money, food, everything equal to all sections of the people. And fifth stage is communism. Fifth stage is communism. Here there is no state. There is no state. Every individual is equal. Every individual is equal. Every person is equal. Okay, and there is no authority to the control the people. Okay, we can find egalitarian society in fifth position. Egalitarian. Everybody equal in this society. Stateless society. Stateless society. Okay, Karl Marx had predicted that the proletariats will take the control of the state and production, destroy all class differences and class antagonism, and finally resulting the withering away of the state. Withering away the state. And the end, the result will be stateless society. Result will be stateless society. Gandhiji and Karl Marx. Gandhism and Marxism discuss about ultimate aim of Gandhism and Marxism is stateless society. Okay, answer is first A is the correct answer. Okay, 18th question, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Gandhi-Irwin Pact included which of the following? Which of the following? Invitation to Congress to participate in the Roundtable Conference. Second option, withdrawal of ordinance promulgated in the connection with the civil disowned movements. Third one, acceptance of Gandhiji suggestion for inquiry into police excuses. And fourth one, release of only those prisoners who were not charged with violence. Okay, Gandhi-Irwin Pact. In 1930, Gandhiji had launched Salt Satyagraha or Salt March from Sabarmati to Dandi. Okay, he started his Salt March from Sabarmati to Dandi. Okay, around 225 kilometers. Okay, March 12th he started Salt March and reached Dandi on April 6th. April 6th and picked the salt and disobeyed the salt law. Okay, at the same time in London, Ramsay MacDonald, Britain Prime Minister, organized roundtable conference. Okay, he is not satisfied with discussions. That's why he suspended first roundtable conference and sent Lord Irwin to India to invite Congress and Gandhiji to roundtable conference. Okay, so first statement is correct statement. Invitation to Congress and Gandhiji to attend first roundtable conference. Okay, and Gandhiji was in a prison in Delhi. So Lord Irwin came to Delhi and he met Gandhiji and concluded an agreement, that is Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Another name of Gandhi-Irwin Pact is Delhi Pact. Delhi Pact. Delhi Pact. In this pact, he discussed about removal of or withdrawal of ordinances. Okay, second option is correct. First option correct, second option correct. Okay, Gandhiji never talked about police excuses. So third option is wrong. Third option is wrong, and we'll see the fourth option. Release of only those prisoners who were not charged with violence. This is also correct. Okay, release of only those prisoners who were not charged with violence. Okay, Gandhi and Irwin Pact. Major is first one is Lord Irwin says that Gandhiji should stop civil disobedience movement and should attend second roundtable conference. Okay, and from Gandhiji's side, he requested to release political prisoners who is having no connection with violence. So this is also correct. So 1, 2, 4 is correct. Option A 1 only, B 1, 2, 4, C 3 only, D 2, 3, 4. Here 1, 2, 4 is B. So B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. We'll see the next question. With reference to the book Deshar Katha written by Shakram Ganesh Deshkar during the freedom struggle, consider the following statement. First one, it warned against colonial state, hypnotic conquest of the mind. Second one, it inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. Third one, the use of Desh by Deshkar was in specific context of the region of Bengal. Okay, your option 1 is correct, option 2 is correct. So A is correct answer. He warned against colonial states' hypnotic conquest of the mind. It's inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. We'll see the explanation. Okay, Shakar Ram Ganesh Deshkar is he born in 1869 and died in 1912. A close associate of Aurobindo. Who is Aurobindo? He was the author of Swadeshi concept. Okay, he was inspired from Ganesh Deshkar. Okay, Shakaram Ganesh Deshkar inspired Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo. Okay, Ganesh Deshkar was a Marathi Brahmin who had settled in Bengal. Shakaram was born in Diogar. He published a book called Deshar Katha. Okay, he published a book called Deshar Katha on in June 1904 and describing exhausting details of the British commercial and industrial exploitation of the India. Okay, Dadabhai Naoroji and Digby, these two persons in ideology was mentioned in this book. Okay, and how British exploiting India, how British using commercial policies and industrial exploitations of India. This information was mentioned in Deshar Katha. How they used means, for example, when East India Company was there, they used a putting out system. They gave advances to the people and purchased final goods. But after industrialization, they imposed a lot of fines on local industries and encouraged British industries. They used raw material. They exported to London. They exported raw material to London. Okay. Deshkar was the first to bring the name of Swaraj, and Sri Aurobindo was the first to endow it in English equivalent to independence. Equivalent to independence. Okay, the nationalists adopt this word. Swaraj became the chief item of fourfold nationalist program. Okay, Deshkar gave a way to use Swaraj. He was the first person to promote Swaraj to get independence. The colonial state prescribed the text. Prescribed means banned, imposed ban in 1910. In 1904, the book was released. In 1910, British abolished, put ban, but by then it had sold around 15,000. After banning also, this book was sold around 15,000 copies. Informed Swadeshi street plays and folk songs and had assumed the status of mandatory reading for entire the generations of the Swadeshi activists. Okay, this book encouraged leaders, people to promote folk songs, street plays. If you want to attract people, we should use street plays. We should use folk songs. Best example. If you want to, for example, we'll go to movie. We'll remember A to Z from starting to end. But when we read a book, We cannot remember because there is a difference. Okay, audio visual is more effective than reading. Audio visual is more effective than reading. That's why he gave importance to street plays and folk songs. When we see, we remember. When we listen, we remember more. Okay, we remember more movies than our books. That is the main issue. Okay, we'll see the last question, the Vittal Vidvamsak. Vittal Vidvamsak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people. Okay, this Vittal Vidvamsak is a monthly journal. A monthly, only one edition was released. Is only related to untouchable people. Okay, its targeted audience was published. Only related to untouchable. Option A, Gopal Baba Walangakar. Option B, Jyotiba Phule. Option D, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Option D, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, this is the most toughest question from history. Okay, because we're not aware of Vittal Vidvamsak. Okay, Gandhiji and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. These two persons gave importance to Harijanodharana. Harijan movement. Harijan movement. In common textbook, you will not find this information. Okay, regular books like you cannot find this book in Spectrum series or some other books. Okay, if you go through a standard books only, you will find this answer. Okay, if you want to answer this question, you need elimination process. Okay, if you know about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar detailedly, you can eliminate D.R. Ambedkar as a wrong option. Okay, we know about his books. We should remember his books, his newspapers. Okay, he published Bahishkrita Bharati. Okay, and some other books, Annihilation of Caste. What Congress done to the Dalits, Gandhi and Buddha and Karl Marx. Okay, he wrote so many books. Okay, if you eliminate, okay, this is a completely eliminate based question. Okay, if you are aware of works of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, you can easily eliminate. This is not a correct option. Okay, Gandhiji also done some works to the Dalits. Okay, he started a newspaper called Harijan. He started a newspaper called Harijan. Okay, and he is not having any relations with Vittal Vidvamsak. So option B is wrong. C, D you can eliminate easily. Okay, and B and A. Okay, Gopal Baba Walangakar is the correct answer. Gopal Baba Walangakar is the correct answer. He was the founder of Mahar movement. Founder of Mahar movement. After Gopal Baba Walangakar, only Ambedkar led the Mahar movement. Okay, before Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Gopal Baba Walangakar started Mahar movement, Mahar Watan, okay, and Kobler for to upliftment of Kobler community. Okay, here Gopal Baba Walangakar worked in the army. He was ex-army man. He requested government to support untouchables. He requested government to give more jobs to untouchables. Then only they will get enlightenment. They will come out from the caste discrimination. Okay, Gopal Baba Walangakar wants to destroy Vidvams. Okay, destroy authority of Brahmins, authority of Vedas on the society. Okay, option A is the correct answer. Thanks for watching. This is the 20 questions asked in UPSC preliminary in 2020. Okay, please watch completely and make a notes. Based on these questions analysis only, you can easily guess next year questions. And please follow 5 Mantra Career Point YouTube channel to get more analysis. Thank you.